Mishmash! Kitbash Corner!
Hey, today I'm doing yet another Space Marine kitbashing video, this time being a little sequel to the Astartes II trailer video that I did last week. This time, however, I'm building yet another Sons of Medusa and a Mortifactor. You know what? It's Mortificator now. But being mean to the comments aside, like with last week's video, I'll be going over a little lore tidbit of each chapter, we'll be kitbashing them, and we'll do a little bit of painting at the end. But before we get into it, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend, and if you really dig it, consider becoming a channel member. For just $3 a month, you get to see my videos early, and for $5, you get access to a weekly Q&A, in which you can show off your models, and I'll give them a little review. You might also get the occasional extra video, and you'll also get access to exclusive roles and channels in the Mishmash Discord. Just want to say a huge thank you to my channel members. You guys are amazing. Also, one last little promotional bit, if you're interested in anything Wargames Atlantic related, especially Quar, you can use my affiliate link down below. Doesn't cost you anything, and you can use my discount code Mishmash5% to save 5% off your purchase. But enough of the promotional stuff, I'm gonna stop yapping, let's get to the good stuff. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the Sons of Medusa. If you're familiar with the channel, I know I've already done a full video on them and an additional video where they appeared in, but too bad, I like them. Now the Sons of Medusa are an Iron Hand successor, though their founding is very controversial. And by technicality, they're not actually a founded chapter. To kind of cliff notes things, basically there was an event known as the Moray Schism. With the possible exception of the Schism of Mars, this was the greatest civil war within the Adeptus Mechanicus.
What are you looking at?
Essentially, the Moray Tech Creed had stumbled upon some prophetic code, of which seemed to come from the Omnissiah himself. Basically, just told them to overthrow Mars and fuse all of the Adeptus Mechanicus and Ecclesiarchy together. As you can probably guess, a lot of higher-ups within the Mechanicus itself treated this as heresy. Though this rebellious element had been thoroughly purged, the schism itself had already spread throughout the Mechanicus, and several Space Marine chapters of which were very closely tied to the Mechanicus. Essentially, the Iron Hands had a bunch of schism boys on their hands. And this came to a boiling point once one of the clans had attempted to seize control over the Scout clan's gene seed. The actions were condemned by everybody in the chapter, but as a result, there was still a ton of animosity. However, a decision was made and all of these schism boys were basically exiled into their own chapter, though they technically were not a chapter at this point. All because the Inquisition saw what was happening with the Iron Hands chapter and said,
"I'll kill you,"
if they didn't get their shit together. After a while, the Sons of Medusa would formulate a big enough number to actually call themselves a chapter, and they would get the opportunity to prove themselves worthy and loyal to the Imperium. Now, the Sons of Medusa are primarily known for being involved in the Badab War, which I'll cover in a future video. But another cool tidbit in terms of their formation is their formation. Essentially, they have 3 differently structured clans, each of them autonomous and ruled by an Iron Thane, rather than having one single chapter master. And though they are separated, they are very unified. I won't lie, they're kinda assholes. They basically just love purging the weak, and they're more extreme Iron Hands. But I like them for that. And on top of it, they are some of the most teched out Marines in the entire setting. With that in mind, let's get into the kitbashing. Considering my last kitbash for Sons of Medusa was the Angels of Death kill team, which features several different Marines, I wanted to make a Reaver. His melon comes from the Primaris Tech Marine kit, this being the alternative head to the regular helmet. Not only is this bit fitting for an Iron Hand successor, it also keeps the Reaver skull helmet element intact. I did go pretty simplistic with the weapons, though I do like the posing of this figure overall. In fact, I do believe this is an Infiltrator body rather than a Reaver body. Now for his backpack, I'm actually using a bit from the Deathwatch Company Master, or Watchmaster rather. Of course, the main reason I'm using this backpack is because of the servo skull, but I'm also using it for the more circular tube-like vents. Feels more Iron Handsy. Though I did quickly realize after gluing it on that the Inquisitor symbol was on the servo skull, so I had to shave it off really quickly. I opted to remove the backpack to do this, as it gave me a lot more leverage. Once I was happy with how the skull looked, I decided to add a pauldron to the left shoulder, this being one of the smooth Mark VI pauldrons. Though, out of nowhere, I kinda stumbled upon this old pauldron from a kit I'm not sure where it's from. It's not often that I say that. It does look identical to the Nova Marines and Sons of Medusa logo, so it felt fitting. Unfortunately, there was a little dent in the trim of the armor, but I decided to cover this up using one of the little pouches from the Reaver's kit, this being a little swatch of grenades. But to add onto the backpack even further, I decided to snip down one of the Infiltrator's antennae from the Infiltrator's kit. I wanted to be careful with snipping it down as this is a very delicate element, and I can totally see this breaking off. In fact, I kind of expect it, and I think it looks pretty cool. Again, obviously delicate, but then again, these are base kit on the Infiltrators, so I don't know what to say. Another key thing that I forgot to mention, this power pack from the Deathwatch kit is actually Kitbash to begin with. The back of it had an Inquisitorial logo, and I just covered it up using this Purity Seal from the Sternguard Veterans kit. But you can also see I added on one last techie little element in the form of this data pad from the Horus Heresy kits. After that, I was happy with the figure, and we'll get moving on to the painting section. So like in the previous episode, I figure I go over kind of a cliff notes of the painting section. For this, I'm going to show you how I painted up the green for my Sons of Medusa kill team along with this guy himself. First and foremost, I'm zenithal priming the miniatures, and I'm keeping the helmets separate. I'll then be spraying over the models using Vallejo model color light green. Honestly, I kind of bounce between using more lemon lime greens and this one because the Sons of Medusa's green is kind of inconsistent over the years. You could easily go with that, but I opted to mix together some green and warm yellow from Proacryl to spray over this. This leaves us with a very stark light green. Now for the helmets, I'll also zenithal prime, and I'll be washing over them using a mixture of Apothecary White and a touch of Drakenhof Nightshade. However, for the Reaver, his helmet was already attached, so I would use a little bit of airbrush putty to cover up the entirety of the head. After I had sprayed the green on, I would reinforce the white using some Ghost Gray on the sharper details. We'll then be adding on the shade I mentioned previously, however this time I'll be using less of the Drakenhof Nightshade as I want the white to stand out a little further from the regular Marines. And in conjunction with shading the helmets, we'll be shading the green power armor using some Oblivion Black Wash and a little bit of Battle Mud Wash, this being roughly a 4-to-1 mixture. This is kind of my go-to for shading, it's just kind of that perfect ratio. After the shade dries, we can then mix together our previous mixture of green and warm yellow to create some nice bright highlights. You can add in a little bit of ivory to kind of touch up and brighten up this color, especially on the sharper details. However, I'll be using this in my speckling pattern like I always do to create some interesting paint chip effects by using a little bit of black and some dryad bark. This is, once again, the best way to paint power armor in my opinion. It just adds so much more detail, it adds so much more character, and it really does stick out. You don't really have to do much, and it just really looks cool. And once the shade is dry on the helmet, we can then re-highlight using a little Ghost Gray and some pure white on the sharpest edges. Again, I went lighter with the blue in the mixture just so I could create more of a sickeningly white skull. And with that, our Son of Medusa is complete, and I am really happy with this figure. I'm honestly almost tempted to basically just make an army of them, though I don't know if I have that in me right now. I kind of have other plans, but they're just such a fun scheme to paint, they're such a fun chapter, and above everything, it's a scheme that I won't get bored painting. I can do it multiple times and actually enjoy it, which is pretty rare for me. But that's enough flapping of the gums, I think we should move on to the next Marine. Now, the Mortifactors are a grim and death-obsessed Space Marine chapter. They're successors of the Ultramarines and really do follow the Codex Astartes closely, though their outward appearance would make you think otherwise. I kind of think of them as modern goths. In a lot of ways, I think they're supposed to be the equivalent to Shadow the Hedgehog, but they come off more as Bloodedge the Minion. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not. But they have some really weird customs, like drinking and eating the flesh of their enemies after battle, and adorning their skulls on their power armor. They also practice a form of deep meditation, which literally brings them to a near-death state. Reason for this is to enter a sort of state of nirvana to commune with the Emperor. In this state, their goal is to beseech him for advice in combat, how they live their lives, how they should fight their next battles, etc. Though I did give them shit earlier, I think it is cool the way that their identity is sort of tribal-esque. To me, it's if you mixed Conan the Barbarian and Yautja culture into a Space Marine chapter. This is by design, however, as the homeworld of the Mortifactors, Pasul, is a bleak, nightmarish world in which the sun can't even penetrate the dank fog. Additionally, all the inhabitants are feral humans, of whom are at constant war and will eat each other whenever they get the chance. Terrible place to live, but it's kind of the perfect breeding ground for Space Marines. Also, very shocking fact I'm sure, the chaplains of the Mortifactors are at a pretty high pedestal. And one of my favorite parts of the lore is that they literally teach new initiates that they'll become one with the Emperor in death, being known as the Ultimate Warrior. Okay, I take back what I said earlier, these guys rock. Hell, one of the last chapters I'd want to encounter, they're basically Khorne berserkers if they wielded their chainswords with the precision of a surgical scalpel. And oddly enough, years ago when I made my own successor chapter, I somehow almost identically created the Mortifactors chapter. So me being mean to them might just be a little bit of copium. Who knows? But with that, I think it's about time we actually build one. Naturally, for the model, I decided first things first, we need to make a skull face. And what better skull face do we have than a Reaver's helmet? Though honestly, I was considering using the Death Company Chaplain, but I couldn't find the bits, so that's that. For a sidearm, I decided to use this Reaver's arm with a bolt pistol stretched out and pointing along his chest. Mostly in a bid to get a nothing personnel kid look. I'm gonna go all in on the edge, might as well. And yes, I know this Marine is super scrunkly, I stripped him, but I probably should have left him in longer. Once I was happy with the positioning of the bolt pistol in the head, I would attach an old skull to his belt, and I would add on his other arm, this being an old push-fit arm. I believe this is one of the starter set push-fits. I would do my best to place it on, and I would attach a Mark III chainsword to it, this being the older Mark III set. I just really like how scrangly and rough around the edges this design is. Though I will say, attaching this and the chainsword on was a hassle. I hated doing this. Just chalk it up to me being impatient, though I would end up having to actually remove it afterwards as I realized I did not want a blank pauldron. I couldn't do this with the arm attached to the body, so had to pull it off and I'd snip away at the original pauldron. Again, this Marine looks really scrungly, but it's worth it in the end. As the shoulder pad I would replace it with is from the old Death Company kit. Considering the Mortifactor symbol is probably one of the most basic in the setting, I decided using this Death Company pauldron with a skull would be perfect. But first I gotta slice off that blood drip, and I gotta use a little bit of sprue goo to seal up the gaps for the Death Company bands. This process was a little tedious, but it was worth it in the end. Adding in sprue goo and then just a little bit of pure Tamiya would make sure that it would spread thinly, but not completely clog up the detail, nor would it actually spill out onto the more important details such as the skull and the little tabard. Though there was a little remnant left of the band of the Death Company symbol, I would drill into this to create some bullet holes. Felt fitting. Now for the underside of the Marine, I would use this old chain from the Sternguard Veterans kit, the vintage one. And I would snip it of the veteran symbol, and I would add it to the belt. It took a little while to dry, but once it was in place, I would use a regular old skull and I would attach it to the underside. This was also a little tedious, but it worked out in the end. Key factor really was just patience. Once the skull was secure, I would add on a backpack in the form of this old Blood Angel's Firstborn backpack. It had a nice little decoration of cloth, and I would add on this Genestealer skull atop of it, though it did look a little awkward sitting on top of it just by itself. So I would cut into the top of the Genestealer skull with my X-Acto knife, get a nice little Dremel inside, and like a 4th century doctor, I would drill all the way through the skull to the top of the pack. I'll be 110 with you, this is actually really fun to do. Though you will notice as I got to the bottom, the sides of the skull itself were beginning to get a lot of tension. Thankfully, however, it did not snap off. But once I was done drilling, I was left with a hole in the skull. Now, what can I use to plug that up? Can I borrow this really quick? Eh, he's got plenty of them, he won't miss this one. I'll call it a perfect fit because this Terminator spike was just the right diameter for the hole that I drilled into the skull. All it took was just a little bit of Tamiya to set it in place, And I actually don't even know if I would need the Tamiya. It probably could have sat in there just fine, but might as well make sure that it's secure. Now by this point, I am really happy with how this figure is turning out. Despite the grungy paint, I do really think I've captured the essence of the Mortifactors. Though there was one thing that I thought was missing. The right pauldron, again, was a Corvus pauldron. I think that's kind of my go-to. It just didn't feel right. But thankfully, I found this pauldron from the Legionaries kill team, and it was just the right fit. It has this nice little slab of random cloth or skin, and all I had to do was slice off the Chaos trim. And it's not like there was much to begin with. It's just a nice little corner here and a little corner there, and now it's a perfect fit. With that, I am left with a total edgelord. But speaking of edging, I think it's about time we paint the model before you can see the final look. Well, I'll be 100 with you. I'm not exactly super happy with the scheme, but to kinda cliff notes it, I sprayed over the model with a Zenithal Prime, then I used some Rakarth flesh, and for all the black areas, I would paint them using some satin black from Proacryl. For the trim, there is definitely a few options to go with, but ultimately my favorite of the Mortifactors iconography for the trim is that kinda nice intermittent green. I was tempted to do yellow, but I don't know, the green stands out more to me. And of course, all over this model we have a bunch of skulls, so naturally I had to use some pallid bone from Army Painter speed paints. This is probably one of my favorite speed paints. It ends up actually creating kind of a dry, dusty feeling. And over the entirety of the model, I'm going to do my classic shading of Oblivion Blackwash and Battle Mud. Again, I'm kind of speeding through the process of painting this figure because, again, I'm not a super huge fan of how it turned out. I don't hate it, but ultimately I wanted the Kitbash to speak more for the figure rather than the paint job. And part of me kind of wishes I actually used like a little bit of streaking grime or something. At this point, I might as well. But as time went on, I would highlight up and dry brush onto the creamy areas using some skeleton bone mixed with a little bit of brain matter beige. Again, sometimes the art depicts the bone color to be much more of a brownish tone, and sometimes it's more of a bleached bone. So like with most Marine factions, I try to go for a balance between the two of them. Now for a really important detail, I really wanted the eyes to be that fiery bright red. I don't know, it just looks so menacing, kinda reminds me of the Hellghast. It's over the top, but then again, this entire chapter is. And to go even further, we're using some dry blood from Army Painter, and I would spray it over the chainsword and some of the armor. You'll also notice that I used a decal to get those signature checkers on. I really like that design. And for one last little detail, I would water down some of the dried blood and I'd kind of shade it over the tabard on the pauldron, just to give a bit of an ambiguous skin look while also looking like a regular old tabard. It actually dried a lot more dull than it actually looks when it's applied, so it kind of gives the effect I was looking for. But with that, my Mortifactor is complete, and I'm pretty happy with him. I will say he's probably one of my least favorite Marines I've ever painted on the channel, but as far as the build goes, he's one of my favorite I've ever kitbashed, so I'm not too bummed. I definitely have some more ideas for more niche chapters outside of the Astartes II trailer. I'm not going to milk that anymore because I'm basically out of chapters. But if you got a niche one that you like, make sure you comment it down below and maybe it'll show up in the series. But I've definitely been flapping my beak enough for one video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend, and remember to mishmash Kitbash and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.